You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next big thing, the latest up-and-coming sports journalist, your host, Nathan Snell.
Mr. Anthony Handy for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Nathan Snell, the Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. This is episode 7, season 17 of the podcast. And as you have seen the title of the video, Maryland's women's basketball is in Cancun for the Cancun Challenge. We played the three following teams for this tournament. We played the University of Mass men and women, women's basketball team, Green Bay, the Phoenix women's basketball team, and the Washington State ranked number 23 Washington State Cougs. But before we get into the game, preview of the game, let's get to things up front. I have to painfully recap that dreck that occurred Sunday with the Washington Commanders and the New York G-Men. Got to talk about that trash. And the Maryland men's basketball team beat a UMBC team that was not no match for them. And then painfully, Maryland versus Michigan football. You'll see that sometime either tomorrow or Friday. So you should see, as of now, 5 and 6. And then this episode will be up tomorrow, and then I'll record 8 and 9 painfully. But let's get into the video. But I cannot do this video alone. Somebody who's been on the podcast multiple times, I cannot tell you. I feel like at this point he's a celebrity, and as I said multiple times, he is practically a co-host of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome back Washington State's own finest, Brenden Potts. Brenden, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. Hopefully you're doing well too. Finally,
thank you.
Finally, our teams match up, and this is going to be a fun one. And before we get into it, I hope you're having a good pre-Thanksgiving setup.
Thank you.
And what should be a good day of sports tomorrow, not just basketball.
For sure, absolutely. Same as to you as well. So hey, we got a plethora of sports to keep us busy, but really, we're getting ready for the Cancun Challenge. You guys are coming into this challenge. You guys are actually ranked number 23. Just talk a little bit about just the success so far. You guys are 5-0 in the Pac-12. Just talk about the success so far of the Washington State women's basketball team.
Yeah, so nothing. We're 5-0. That's the best start since 2016, 2017, I believe. I believe around that area, if not then the year before. So that's the best start in a while. And nothing. When you look at our results, nothing big, uh, big appears on it, except maybe the overtime win against Gonzaga, which shouldn't have gone to overtime. Um, Gonzaga made a buzzer beater three to send it into overtime. It was actually pretty impressive. But other than that, nothing really glares. Nothing really stands out in terms of like quality wins against top competition. But I think that's the just the reality of our non-conference schedule so far this year. It's been pretty easy. Um, and with that, I think it's a little flexibility with with the win deficits because we haven't really scored or haven't really had big scoring margins or haven't really quote unquote blown out teams, which is a concern. And I think that's mainly with our offense, but our defense has been solid ever since Cammie Etheridge, our head coach, really took over. She's made an emphasis on defense. When you look at our team on paper, our offense really stands out. So that's really how I would summarize the first 5 games. But at the end of the day, we're just getting the season started. We're playing like it, I think, and I think in our eyes, there's plenty of season to go, especially when we get into conference play.
Now you're building off a state last year. You lost to Florida Gulf Coast. That was a 12 seed in the tournament. Just you just kind of look at from this season, like what has stood out. Did we lose? Like, who did you get any players in the transfer portal? Like, who did you lose? Like, now who? Like, what is this roster looking like so far?
Yeah, so it didn't really change much. We got a player from just across the way in Moscow, Idaho, Beyonce B. It's actually pronounced Beyonce, but the committee coined her the White Beyonce. So that's what I'm going with. Oh my gosh, I listened to that space. I died when I heard the White Beyonce. So she's actually from Washougal too. So that's about like 15 minutes from where I live. So that's really funny. But yeah, she's a top. I think she finished as one of the best scorers in the nation last year. So she will be starting at our 4 for the foreseeable future. One of those vacated spots though is a player named Ula Motuga, and she had a really big impact for our team for the 5 years that she went to or that she played for us. But it never showed up on the scoreboard. It never showed up on the stat sheet. I call her our Draymond Green. She's our voice. She's probably one of the best passing bigs in college that I've seen. And just the way that she commands the offense, it's really like a point guard. So that's a big loss. That's why I think our offense has been down so much. But at the same time, who's gonna step up? Who's gonna take more of that leadership role? And I think that's where you got to look at the sophomores and the senior class. The senior class is so good this year, and led by Charlie Fletcher Walker, one of the best players in the nation, I think. And you got Bella Marcatete as our starting center again. So it's really, we won the Pac-12 tournament last year, and you're bringing most of that squad back. You're adding a transfer in Beyonce B and a really good freshman class who I'm surprised has played a lot. Like our freshmen last year didn't really aside from Esther Tahina, we call her AT. Aside from her, no other freshmen really played a lot last year. And granted, one of them was hurt, but all three of our freshmen this year have played significant minutes off the bench. One of those freshmen that's made a really big impact was Alex Koval, being the second center the first center off the bench, and I believe she's 6'4". She's the tallest player in the to come into WSU in the Cami Etheridge era. So and I was on a podcast earlier a couple days ago, and we were talking about her, and the quote came up that she's not 6'4" on offense, but she is on defense. So she's not playing up to her height on offense, but she is on defense. She got like five blocks each the last two games. So she is a definite shot blocker for any team when they try to attack the paint.
I like that. Now, just my last question before I get onto the Maryland side. Have you been to the games?
No, but I will. No, but I will. I'm going to at least. Yeah, I'm going to 3. I'm going to 1 in Seattle, January 14th, and then I'm going to 2 senior weekend, Oregon State and Oregon, which Oregon State and Oregon State and WSU. That'll be the Pac-2 championship.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll say on that is I'm getting those tickets for free, and that's a testament to the women's basketball team and the people I know over there. I'm so thankful for them. They love me as well. The feeling is mutual, so I really appreciate them.
I mean, like I said, you're a celebrity. I mean, it wouldn't faze me if they had a name of your name on a building, hell, a statue. I mean, just and I mean that with all sincerity. I mean, just the love of the game you have and the support that you show the ladies. That means something. So it definitely is not going unnoticed. So definitely keep supporting them.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. For the Maryland side.
I was going to say, let's see who I have to worry about on the Maryland side.
Okay, so on the Maryland side, if you watched the last episode, painfully, Maryland, for the first time in a while, is unranked, and I still really haven't recovered from that. But again, I think this is the start of something new. I think we'll be good. I'm not panicking. I thought Sunday's win against Syracuse was I think the right formula. I think this is a team coming into this challenge. I see confidence. Our starting lineup, the adjustments, and I thought that's where it was for this game. I really think it starts with our seniors. Lavender Briggs, who was big in that game against Syracuse. I think she's arguably the best defender. She said especially she wants to challenge the biggest offensive threat. She said that actually in today's media availability, it was myself, Kareem Copeland, and Sam June. Shout out to those guys. But I think, I said in my preview, the key for her this season is going to be her scoring. We need her scoring. Brittany Alexander, her scoring. And then again, also too, Bree McDaniel, who I think should be in the starting lineup in terms of our starting point guard. I said that in the last video, but I just think coming into this game, you need consistency. I think everyone is, again, I'm gonna keep reiterating it. Give these girls time to gel. We're going into our 5th game of the season. It takes time. Ali Kubek is coming off an injury. Looked good in the win against Syracuse. I think their defense is going to be key. because especially in the Syracuse game, she used Coach Freeze, one of her defensive specials, her press defense and trap, and he picked the pace about got in transition and got easy buckets. I think for me, you just got to get everybody involved. So I mean, there's some things we're going to continue to work on, but so far I'm pretty surprised. I'm liking, not surprised, the development of some of our players. Again, like Riley Nelson, who was ranked number 18th. We got to look for her scoring a little bit, her development. Emma Chardon, another player who was redshirted, came off an injury. Her development is going to be key. So those are the kind of things to look for coming into this challenge. We got to improve, I think, on our second quarters. And I think that's where it is. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lineup change in this challenge, personally. Now, to the game, first and foremost, I think playing at 11 o'clock in the morning, all three games for Maryland are 11 o'clock. I think one that they against UMass is 11:30. It might be the Green Bay game, but one of those two is at 11:30. No, 1:30, excuse me. It's the Green Bay game. I'm sorry. And it's going to be on Flow Hoops. So I heard some tricklings that some games are been live streamed on Facebook and Twitter. I don't know if that's true. I'll keep my eye on that, but to watch 3 games of Flow Hoops is ridiculous. But Brenden, I did a little scouting on your team. I did some spying, and you gave me 3 players I wrote down on my list. You said you might be with this Chalise Ledger Walker.
Charlize,
thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
Bella and Beyonce.
Yeah.
Those were 3 I circled. For me, I think is one of your most important players. She's averaging about 15 a game, almost 8 rebounds. You stated that she's been really good on the block. And last year, Beyonce was the All Big Sky first team at Idaho. And then Ledger Walker, I believe she was an All-American honorable mention last year. Ironic
player of the year.
Yeah,
we could go all day listing her accomplishments.
Sure, but it's kind of ironic looking at her stats. She's shooting less than 35% from the field so far. So I don't know if that's a confidence thing. I don't know what that is, but that's something that I took note of. I would say, and you could agree to this, you could talk a little bit more of this. I think your biggest strength while coming into this game is your paint protection. You have Bella, and you have a freshman, Alex. Who almost averaged damn near eight blocks a game. So just talk a little bit about that. Like, when you watch these first 5 games, do you feel as though that paint protection is going to be key in this game?
Yeah. I just talked about Alex. Like, she's been killing it on the defensive end, but with Bella, I feel like she can impact both ends of the floor. And I believe we do a lot of helping when the opponent drives to the hoop. So that could be that could be an issue. But Bella, for me, if you look at this team up and down the roster, Bella is the one player on this team that consistently screams potential. Like, she just, even as a fifth-year senior, she just screams potential, and I can see it every day. The thing that doesn't get her to her highest peak, the thing that just doesn't get there, is herself, and she just kind of gets in her own head, which forces the coach to take her out early. You might watch the game tomorrow and see, like, wow, they're taking out Bella kind of early. Like, every day it's kind of like a question: is Bella is today her day? And you can find out pretty quickly if if today's going to be her day, or if she's starting out the day strong or good, or strong or not. And I think it's very very good. It's a luxury that we have a player like Alex to come off the bench, and clog up that paint, because when you take out a player like Bella, there's not much in our eyes, as fans, that you can turn towards, because our paint presence is gone. So it's good that Alex is developing so quickly. My favorite thing probably about Cami Etheridge and the way that she has coached in the time that I've seen her. I love her small lineups. I absolutely love her small lineups. And one of those luxuries to having those small lineups work out well is, we have a guard who's 6 foot, kind of reminds me of like a Ben Simmons-esque, but can shoot. Tara Wallach from South Surrey, Canada. She's a starter, and she's our small ball center, and she's just got it defensively. She always has ever since she was a freshman, and she just works so hard on that end. Now, the thing that I've been screaming about her for 2 years is get a 3-pointer, and she could be unstoppable. It just hasn't come into her own yet on that end of the floor. So still waiting for that, but like, she's a 3-pointer away. But when a player like Tara is on the floor, that gives you the luxury of running Charlize, Estera Tahina, and one of our we used to run player Johanna Tedder last year, but she's unfortunately hurt all season. She'll be out for the season. Lucky for us, we have a freshman who reminds me of Estera in Eleonora Villa. We call her Ella, and she has that luxury of getting overseas play, and starting her career overseas. So she comes in with that luxury, and that 3-guard lineup paired with either Beyonce or whoever you want to put at the 4, and then Tara at the 5. That small lineup works really well, especially when we play zone. And I think that could really help, and it takes pressure off the bigs, when maybe the coaching staff doesn't want to put either Alex or Bella on the floor, or it's just not working. We have to do something different. The last thing I'll say is something that was a negative to our tournament game last year is, yes, the small lineup worked. It was probably our best lineup, but they overused it, and it was once they really figured us out in the second half, we were forced to go to our small lineup, and yeah, it was our best lineup, but WSU just overused it big time.
Now, also I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
Also, in my notes, within my scouting, you guys, for some unknown reason, don't play a full 60 minutes. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what's with this? Why is that?
Full 60 minutes in what are you implying?
Like, you're not, like, as a team, they don't play a full 4 quarters. It looks like they play maybe like a good 3.5, like a complete basketball game. Like, I'm gonna give you some stats. Like, I looked at they've so far, they struggled to score. Like, you guys have shot in under 44% from the field and under 30%. That's the lowest within the Pac-12. Could you speak a little to that?
Yeah, I think it's similar to what you said. I think it's getting our feet wet really this year. you really gotta, when you look at a team like Washington State, you really gotta look at why they're 5-0, and not just that, hey, we're 5-0, and that's great, but like there are some games where we just haven't really played that well, and it's really been on the offensive end. We have, like I said earlier, we have a really good offensive team on paper. Like it's really good. There's a lot of scoring. We have two of the highest scoring players in the nation, and none of them are named Bella. So that's good. But once you start the season, you crumple the paper, throw it into the fire, and I think that's really what this season has shown for a team like Washington State. If I were to answer that question, I'd say it's the same as what you said. You're starting off the season kind of slow. We've just had the luxury of not as difficult of a schedule to start off with.
And I mean, I agree, because it kind of seems like there's a little bit of similarities in terms of Maryland. Like you said, we both say that in terms of letting these teams gel, give them time. Those are kind of what I saw when I did my scouting on you guys. And I mean, I think you guys are a great team. It's just that stood out to me. It's like they don't play a full 4 quarters. And when you look at Maryland, the same thing. I personally think, for me, when I watched so far these first 4 games, I can make an argument, as I said in the previous video, and lineup adjustment in the lineup. I think we need to push the tempo more, shoot the ball. We're going to be facing a Washington State team that has size, and I think we got to get to the free throw line like that. Like that's a key. But we're going to talk more into that in just a bit. But yeah, I just want to get a little bit more insight on Washington State from your perspective. I think you got a great team. It's just those are the 2 things that stood out to me when studying Washington State. I say for Maryland, our biggest strength and weakness, I think we have the depth, and we're not afraid to really, when we're clicking, get in transition and play defense. Not afraid. I'd say our biggest weakness is at times I think we are our own worst enemy. Like example, the UConn game, when we can't get going, like they trapped us defensively, that kind of sputters our offense. So that's definitely weakness so far I've seen with the ladies. But with adjustments, they get it together. Before we get into the keys to success, let's get into the sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Zagnif Apparel. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to dress like you're already famous? You can and you will with Zagnif Apparel.
The following is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC. Introducing Zagnif Apparel. Our comfortable line of leisure wear and athletic wear will have you comfortable and stylish at any occasion. Whether you're at the gym, out shopping, or just relaxing at home. Whether you're an athlete or just want to lay around the house, we've got the perfect outfit for you. Stop by our website today and pick up your favorite pieces. Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you're already famous.
You can and you will with a nice 15% off using my discount code on your final purchase. Big Nate for 15% off. Thank you. Thank you so much for Zagnif Apparel for being a sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. And we're back. Let's get into the keys to success. Brenden, I'm gonna start with you. What are Washington State's keys to success to get this win for Washington State?
Yeah, my first key is execute the pick and roll to perfection. I mean that's that's really their bread and butter is that pick and roll with Charlize and Bella. And it's so good when it's executed well. So let that or execute that to perfection. Let Bella cook if she has the day that the day that she woke up and all the birds were chirping and everything's happy and all good, and I'm ready to dominate if I'm her. Um, my next key is we're kind of similar in this weakness. We suck at transition too. So when it comes to transition defense, um, so try and limit their transition points. And on that flip side, try and limit the turnovers. We can turn over the ball a lot. And it really that's one of the reasons why we suck at transition. It's because we turn over the ball a lot. Um, limit it kind of goes hand in hand. Limit turnovers. Limit transition. Um, and then play this one's interesting because I don't really know where to go with this next one. Play outside of Charlize, but at the same time play well outside of Charlize, but at the same time let Charlize cook. Not okay. I'll say this one better. Play outside of Charlize. Don't let Charlize cook if she has to, if she absolutely has to, because there have been games where there are a lot of games last year where I walked away from my TV or walking away back to my dorm after a home game where I said that is a good team win. That's a good team win. Charlize didn't have to carry us. Charlize didn't have to play uh, make a bucket. Not guaranteed she can go get a bucket if she absolutely has the need to. Um, but we've had a lot of good team wins where I really like the team around her. So have one of those games tomorrow. One of the one of the games I spoke about a game where or a bunch of games where yeah it's a good team win, and one of those games where it wasn't was I point back to the Florida Gulf Coast game. They took Charlize out of the game, and granted it was horrible refereeing, which shocker, women's college basketball, awful refereeing, especially when it comes to Washington State. Still to this day, I think fans think Pac-12 refs that game. Um, but all jokes aside, Charlize finished with I think 5 fouls, single digit points, and it's because they took her out of the game on defense, and the rest of the team just couldn't function correctly. And granted, one Ula Motuga spoke about her at the start of the show. She was injured, so she had a very limited minutes restriction, but it shouldn't matter. You should have a really good team around Charlize, and the fact that she gets taken out of the game, and her shot gets taken away, especially in the late season, March or February March area, um, it shouldn't happen. Um, Last thing I'll say on Washington State, and you've said like our shooting is not as good as we've advertised last year, and all these other stuff that I've said to like oh the season's early, it's just started. I'm not judging this team. I'm a fan of this team. I'm not fully judging this team until probably mid January, late January at the latest. I'm not I don't know where this team is. I know where it could be. This could be a really good team, but I'm giving it more time. I'm not fully judging this product until we get into at least Pac-12 play.
I'm in agreement with that too. Same with Maryland, because I know by January that's when the schedule gets tougher for all teams. I like for Maryland. I'll speak for Maryland. I think 4 games is not enough evidence to sit here and make comments and saying, well, players are going to be transferring. I'm just responding to some things that I saw on Twitter that I don't like. And again, we can all disagree on that. 4 games to me is not enough. Give them time to gel. The one thing I understand that, especially Maryland coming off the run they had the year before, and same with Washington State, there are expectations, but it takes time. When you lose players, to the draft, graduation, that does make a difference. You do kind of have to now figure out that void, and I'm reiterating what I said in the previous video, recapping the win against Syracuse. You got to give them time. So I'm glad you spoke up on that. For me, I'm curious to see if there'll be a lineup change. I'm like when we say lineup, the last 4 games have shown that you got to make some changes. I think Ali Kubek, who's coming off a 23-point game in that win against Syracuse, I would like to see her get an opportunity to start. I think Faith should. Like I said, the previous Faith should be the energy coming off the second team off the bench. I think one of my keys is getting out and transition early, offensive transition. Brenden loves to play that press defense, so I'm curious to see how we're going to come out defensively against Washington State. Get to the free throw line. That's something we really didn't do in the UConn game. We kind of a little bit better in the Syracuse game, so I'm curious to see how we're going to get to the line to the free throw line, especially against a Washington State team that's really good with protecting the paint. Kind of going off on that, kind of have to figure the offense out. I mean, shooting, I think you got to kind of take some smart shots. I think get them out into the perimeter and attack. I think that's going to be key for for Maryland, because I have a feeling that you guys are probably going to dare us to shoot the ball, but knowing Brenda's offense, she's probably going to make you guys come out to the perimeter and defend. Where I think that's where your lineup change is going to have to happen, because I think Maryland's small ball, I think that's going to bother your size, in my opinion. Limit the turnovers, especially through Cheyenne Sellers. I think is having a good season so far, but got to limit the turnovers, because turnovers are something that are, to me, killing us a little bit. Because she's right now averaging on team high 6 turnovers coming into this game. So if she could cut down the turnovers, especially from these last 3 games, I think we'll be okay. My last key is the bench. The bench in the last game did really well. So I'm curious to see how the bench will come out and do. And I expect the freshmen to get some love. Hawa, Riley Nelson, Emily Fisher. However, even Summer Bostic, I expect some of the freshmen to get some playing time out there. So that's really my keys to success for the Maryland Terrapins. Do you have a final score, buddy?
Final score, gosh. I think it's going to be 69 WSU, nice, and 64 Maryland. These 2 teams, there's a reason why you kind of let us down with dropping out of the rankings, but this is a reason why it was 20 against 23 before Maryland dropped out. Like, these 2 teams are very, very similar as we've broken down, because a lot of the characteristics you've said, I've been like, yeah, WSU, we've done the same thing, or we have the same issue, or we've had the same strength. So these 2
Well, the difference is you guys
similar.
haven't lost to a South Carolina or UConn, painfully.
We've never had to play. Our strongest team that we played against is Gonzaga, which it works. It works to our favor, but does it really? Like that. I talked about that earlier. Like, does it really?
No, I understand. I got you. My final score, I think it's gonna be a close one. I'm gonna say Maryland 77, Washington State 70.
Okay.
I can see a score like that.
Okay.
That's my score prediction. So I'm gonna put a guarantee on
Okay.
that. Guarantee. Let's get into the last topic of the Sports Talk podcast, and that is one final thought, ladies and gentlemen. Oop, wrong button. Where is it? There we go.
Thoughts are running through my mind. Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize.
What is your final thought, buddy?
Yeah, well, first of all, I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You as well.
It's gonna be a fun-filled day. I'm gonna watch a lot of football. Unless someone hooks me up with a link to watch the WSU game, which if you do, you're clutch. Because I'm not trying to spend $30 to watch one game. Technically 3, but in all seriousness, like the news came out today. It's November 22nd as we're recording this, and UConn forward AZ Fudd. The news came out that she tore her ACL. This UConn team can't catch a break, but AZ Fudd, man, like I wish you prayers up and good luck on your recovery before I found out how serious it was, and just I feel so bad for a player like her because she knew coming into the season, like, okay, this season's going to be different. We got Paige back. We got basically a fully healthy roster. We could really compete, and then just to go down like that and not being able to be on the floor with your teammates and having to not only have surgery but to go through rehab and like, you know, it sucks. And for a player like AZ, like as competitive and fun as she is, it sucks for her. I'm not trying to say this is a bad thing, but she's got a player like Paige to kind of help her out through this process. And I think that'll be who she leans on a lot. So just prayers up to AZ. Hope she has a successful surgery and has a full and safe recovery. And I'm super excited to watch her play next year. It's actually coming up on Saturday will be the 1-year anniversary of when I met her when they came to Portland. So that's I look at that picture a lot, and yeah, I wish her a recovery because this is one of those players where it shouldn't have been her.
Now, I second those thoughts, and same. I wish her nothing but a health and safe recovery. The one thing I will say about this UConn team, regardless through the injuries, their sisterhood, they persevere through it. They did the same thing last year with Paige, and now I they're going to do the same thing with AZ. AZ said she was not going to go into for the draft. She was going to come back next year, and it just sucks because I know, you know, she's had a long track to get to this point, and you know it sucks. You hate to see any player go down with injury. Example, last year, Ali Kubek tore her ACL, and just to kind of see where she's back, you know, she leaned on, you know, Faith Masonius, who went through the same thing. So the most important thing is that they're a sisterhood and they lean on each other, and I think that's something everyone should do, especially when you're going through a tough period like that. I want to also speak on my one final thought is, you know, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. You know, please stay safe. I know it may be like a somber Thanksgiving for some, but take this holiday season as just a moment to reflect on the things that God has given you the blessings that he's given you and your family, and just continue to just ask for forgiveness and just pray for guidance. And more importantly, just be kind to one another. There's a lot of stuff that's happening in this world. I'll get to you in a second, Brenden. That's happening, and I hope this holiday season is a reminder of just to spread love, kindness, and more importantly, just be thankful.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
my question, it's a little different. My question was going to be like, we're not going to meet tomorrow for Thanksgiving. So I wanted to ask, like, what are you thankful for this year?
Oh wow, you threw me on the spot there. And just it's another year. I'm thankful for that. Thanksgiving I'm could be cooking macaroni and cheese. Now I'm not putting raisins in it, ladies and gentlemen. That's not happening. No, but it's just I think getting through a fall semester with school, just being able to once again for this year, on a personal level, I've seen personal growth, and I would say there's a lot to be thankful for, from doing this, and this many other things that I've done. So a lot of people will say that it's not going to notice. So I have to give my thanks to the man up above for that. What are you thankful for?
Yeah, mine's kind of similar. I'm thankful for the way things have turned out for me this year, and I point specifically to when I went to Vegas back in late February and March when we had the Pac-12 tournament, and I got to go for every game and watch my girls win the championship, do something that I personally dreamt for them since I found out about them, and just the way that everything worked out, and not only for us winning, but like I wasn't even supposed to go to the championship game, and I got to watch my team win, and just the people that I got to meet there, and like just I was in basketball heaven. I was in women's basketball heaven for a weekend, and I'm just thankful that first of all for the opportunity that I got to go. Like nobody gets that opportunity that often, and the fact that everything worked out while I was there. So that's what I'm thankful for this year.
I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude episode 77, season 17 of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Be tuned for future episodes. Brenden, as always, thank you, buddy. Thank you for coming on the episode. We will touch base, recapping the game. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it's going to be crazy tomorrow because I think pretty much all these tournaments are on flows. So it's going to be something else. But I will leave Brendan's Twitter in the description. Also, too, I'm going to leave a link to the website where he's covering. He's moving college basketball this season for the men's side. Correct.
Yeah, I'm covering all aspects of basketball, NBA, college basketball. We've just started getting into women's college basketball, so that's a really big step for us. So really, not just college basketball specifically, but all aspects of basketball.
Okay, good. I'll make sure to leave that link in the description as well. And also, too, you can find me on MarylandSportsBlog.com. I apologize if you're not seeing an article from me in a couple last few weeks, just dealing with school, but you will see a preview of the Cancun challenge. The ladies got there safe, and I believe they're getting ready for tomorrow. So should be a great game, great series of games. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the day. There's plenty of games, basketball, football, you name it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will catch you all on the flip side. You will see episodes 5, 6, and 7 up tomorrow. So until then, this is your host, Nathan Snell, along with Brenden Potts. Thank you so much for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. And we're out of here. Peace. Stay up.
Go Cougs.
episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the next big thing, the next up-and-coming sports journalist, Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
I want to thank you, yeah. I want to thank you. Ooh. For all the times you put up with me. Thank you. And you helped me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.